And we're back with the ACP Automation Adventure with Dublin Robotics as well as CCA Robotics Club and teams. We have just been on a roll discussing their missions, discussing the different subject matters that the students are currently learning, and the skills that they are acquiring as they are taking these programs and graduating from the different curriculum programs. What I like to discuss now is really the career pathway element of robotics. You know, what does that look like? I may be interested in robotics and I'm a part of this team, I'm a part of this club, but what does that look like for a career where I can get paid? Okay. I know it's not about that only, but hey, why not? I mean, we do what we love and we also want to get paid for it, right? Make a career out of it. So I want to start with Sasi with the Dublin Robotics team or Dublin Robotics Club. And I'd love for you to just list some of the careers that are available in robotics.
Sure. As we know, we are in the fourth industrial revolutions, like after the agriculture, after the industry, automobile, and then IT revolution. We are right in the midst of artificial intelligence, robotics revolution, and these technologies or Internet of Things going to change totally how we live, how we communicate, how we travel, how we do work. Everything is going to be changed, and there is going to be a plenty of job opportunities and high-paying careers and jobs and entrepreneurial area. Everything is going to open up because right from what we have in the Siri or Alexa, from the Amazon or an iPhone. From that, the robotics going to be used for security system and the home security, or like what we saw in a Tesla, like using the GPS and then do the autonomous car, right? So already we started seeing those changes in our job opportunities in our career, and this is going to enhance and develop further. And robotics, like underwater robotics, like we export a lot of things in that space, and then similarly there is a lot of natural resources available in the underwater. So there is an underwater robotics, and so it's going to be a lot more career opportunities and then job opportunities, and then the kids can go and invent a lot of things. Like especially if you look at California right now, we are facing a lot of for wildfire, right? So we can able to find some better mechanisms because humans cannot go and shut off those fires because of the high temperature and other things. We may use current robotics technology, to mitigate some of the risk what we see and then solve that problem, right? This is one of the examples. And then similarly in the agriculture where we use so much of labor which we are using for, picking the tomatoes or cabbages, we can automate quite a lot in that. So the robot is going to touch quite a lot in our job opportunities. And in terms of the mentorship, which I just wanted to bring back some points which we discussed in previous session, and then I like to give some opportunity for Louis to talk direct, because he is uniquely positioned in the group that he also a student before. He played as a robotics student 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and then he elevated to a mentor. So I just wanted to give his side of the story since Laura brought that mentorship.
Thank you. And you said you would like for whom to answer the question?
Derek to talk about some mentorship of his experience.
Right. So one of the things that is really kind of unique about the robotics field is that you can really apply it anywhere. So as I said earlier, right now I'm a college student and I've had a lot of opportunities to talk to and network with like different employers. And I think a lot of people would be surprised to see how many different fields robotics really applies to. Like there's constantly companies looking for like applicants in the like automotive field, medical field, aerospace. And robotics is just something that is really useful in every field, especially as like the world in general shifts more towards automation and technology.
That is so key, right? Robotics, the transferable skills that you all are learning, I mean, you'll be able to be pretty much competitive in any field that you all choose to go in. And I think that that is unbeatable. That's pretty exciting to say that you guys are learning such a wide span of skills that will cover pretty much any industry. And that's really amazing. Derek, what you mentioned that you've had opportunities, to um, engage with employers, whether it's local or national or internationally. I'm wondering, how does your program connect your students with employment opportunities, if they're similar to the ones that you've been connected and introduced to?
Mhm. Well, I mean, our program mostly focuses on actually preparing the students for positions in these jobs. So by doing robotics here, they'll learn a lot of the skills that are useful for their future. And it sort of gives them a head start to a lot of skills that they'd be expected to learn in college. Let's say maybe you're a first year in college looking for an internship opportunity, but maybe you haven't had the chance to take all these like college level courses that teach you about robotics, that teach you about CAD and coding. And if you've had experiences here where you've done robotics and had to apply these skills, you already put yourself like way far ahead compared to some of the other applicants that you would be going against.
That's got to feel great as well when you get to that time when you're ready to apply. You're prepared, right? You feel overly prepared, where, I mean, it's just, you're going to knock the ball out of the park. It's just going to be a no brainer. That's awesome. And anyone else from Dublin Robotics who'd like to describe how you all connect students with employment opportunities?
Alex, do you like to talk about the healthcare robots, companions?
Sure, yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. So, in the example of I want to focus on the network that we have. So, for the example that we were talking earlier, the Armavi, the robotic vehicle that was in the medical field, we are pretty fortunate to have a pretty broad network of professionals. So the students, their parents usually work in this type of fields, and so they're always willing to help. And they usually work in IT or medical fields, and we have this big community that we can tap into for this type of things. And what else in terms of employment opportunities, as we were mentioning earlier, I think that the opportunity is everywhere. Every other major tech company has its robotic division, like Sasi was saying. Um, Amazon and Facebook. Every other major company has its division in robotics, and even though right now many of the opportunities are in research, I think, and I'm confident that many more opportunities will open up, and so we are setting the kids up for success with the skills that we were talking earlier, and as Derek was saying, so you have an edge when you're recruiting, even if we're not directly connecting them with employers, but um, the growth mindset and being hands-on and just the system thinking that we teach and the programming mindset and also the coaching and the willingness to teach, they're all useful in the robotics field and other fields as well.
I think that's important. Just getting these students, like you said, the growth mindset. I mean, ultimately, you can present a student in front of an employer who's just not ready. So to focus like you all are doing on really making sure that your students are prepared and ready for that opportunity once it comes, I think you can't beat that. That's one of the most important things that the students really should be focusing on anyways at that stage, at the level that you guys are at. So thank you guys for sharing that information with me. Laura, I would love to talk with you about how Calvary Christian Academy, your robotics team, provides and connects students with employment opportunities.
Again, much like what Dublin said, so much of this is about putting these kids in a place where they're not just exposed to it, but they're very well prepared in these areas. They have not just done some assignments in CAD, they've actually been creative and designed and problem solved in CAD. They have not just, built a little model of something. They have had to build and engineer something that has to drive and has to sustain these competitions, and then they have to redesign it, and then they have to perfect it if it's not doing the job that it's supposed to be doing well. So again, I think a lot of times in education, especially up to the high school level, students get introduced to things and they don't really get a chance to master them or really deepen their skill set in that. And I think robotics does that incredibly well. I love what Alex said at the end, that there is just in this community, because these skills are fairly new, emerging skills, and because they're constantly changing skills, there is just this idea that you are supposed to mentor and you are supposed to teach, and you are supposed to carry these into, the younger generations or into other people who need the skill set. Oftentimes it is the older generation. Perhaps you have a successful company, but they need more automation, or they need more programming, or they have things that they're missing out in the marketplace because they don't have people who are well versed in these skills. And I think that's really, just kind of a great way to see these students really expand and know that they are valuable in the marketplace because they do have them. We have students who have worked in a lot of different fields, like in summer jobs that have parlayed into, careers. We have kids that have worked in biomedical fields. We have 2 students right now who are just tearing it up in biomedical fields up in the Northeast, in biomedical engineering and research in nanotechnology, that, have come out of our programs, which are really exciting. And we work very closely with a medical research and surgical group that is close to our campus, and they do everything from like how image scanning is being promoted and kind of advancing in technology, but also watching the engineering and design process for prosthetic hips and joints and different bones and things like that. So we have our kids working with them, and it's very much engineering, but it's also biomedical engineering. I was going to let some of our kids share in different ways that they have kind of experienced this transference of skills, or where they're looking to go with their careers and how those opportunities have happened.
Laura, so you get your students where they need to be with these skill sets, and then what do you all discuss in your classroom as some of the career opportunities that are available in robotics?
Okay. Well, I would say, again, almost every industry has them, because we have aerospace is really big. We have an airport right across the street from us. So that's one of the, yeah, it's
great.
Really cool. And we've been trying to kind of keep, kind of tapping into them, and then we'll do programs with them. We have and I'm going to steal a little bit of Aiden's thunder. He was going to talk about this, but we we have a program with our seniors when they work on their senior project, and some of our projects, like the coding project, the computer science senior coding project, capstone project, literally came straight out of robotics experience. But these kids actually do their capstone project in kind of community, what I would say in community, with professionals speaking into it. And then we have professionals come to their final presentation. That means engineers, architects, computer scientists in our community come and actually see their presentation at the end of the year and give them feedback and critique. And we've had patents come out of this. It's just been incredible. And so much of what our kids do in robotics transfer into that. Aiden is very interested in a career. Aiden, you want to pipe into that? Well, I'll let you talk about that too, but the automotive industry is huge. Again, I think because of some of the other tracks that we have at our school, biomedical industry is huge. Space, obviously. I mean, who didn't watch the Dragon touchdown? I mean, Elon Musk is blazing the way there. So we all have hope that anybody can do space if they want to. But those are all things that we talk about and we look at. And then like we said, we've got kids who love to teach and love to mentor and love to, provide services for others. We have a prosthetic company that's also across the street in our biomedical thing. And that's incredible engineering.
That's so good. Thank you so much for sharing those pieces of information. Okay, so what I want to do is wrap up this amazing episode that we've had with Dublin Robotics and the Calvary Christian Academy Robotics Club and team. And I really just want to know what you guys, the coaches and the students, what are you guys' future goals? What STEM career are you focused on pursuing? And then what are you doing to prepare for a career in that particular STEM field? And I'll start with Sasi. If you just want to call out your students and your coaches in whatever order, and they'll just briefly give an answer for that question.
Sure. I will explain from the Dublin Robotics point of view what is our plan, and then I just let the coaches and students what's their career plan on that. So from the Dublin perspective, we started as a education institutions robotics from first grade to 12th grade that we accomplished, and then we started at drones, and then now we started patent and then grants. So ideally, we wanted to have in Northern California as a good research-oriented, hands-on development club, not just learn and build and then code and copy. We also spend work with the government agencies and get some grants to NASA or NIH, and then really make some models and then help real world problem. As a extension of from the educations to solving the problem. That is my vision and plan for next few years. I just let Alex to talk about his plan.
Yeah, so my plan, I'm currently studying business, and I want to get into something that brings business and robotics and STEM together. So I love to, I've been exploring the startup field, and I've directly talked to many startups in the robotics space. And I'm also interested in consulting and technology. So I know that Siemens, you were mentioning your company that you're partnered with. They have management consulting that is focused on high tech and just automation and all those type of fun stuff. So what I'm doing together is I'm just learning everything I can. I try to keep up with the latest trends, and I try to share my findings with our students, and yeah, just enjoy the process.
Thank you. That's great.
Derek?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, I'm currently studying mechanical engineering, and I'm actually concentrating in mechatronics, which is basically robotics. So as far as my future goes, I hope to work in a robotics company And one of the ways that I've been preparing myself for this is to constantly be engaging myself in sort of hobbies and activities that are relevant. So even though I've been doing robotics basically my whole life, there's still so much out there to be learned. So right now I'm currently getting into new hobbies such as 3D printing and combat robotics. And all that has allowed me to learn new skills that I might have not been able to learn in like a traditional classroom or lecture kind of environment.
That's so good. Thank you for sharing.
Arya?
Yeah, so my goals for the future is to eventually complete my high school education and then move on to my higher level of studies in some university or college that offers like a robotics engineering that's actually becoming like a degree itself on its own now. I'm pretty sure like All In offers it, and a bunch of other Purdue I think also offers a robotics degree. So that's definitely something I'm really interested in, and to set myself up for to go there and pursue even more knowledge, and then eventually get a job in the industry in Silicon Valley or somewhere. I've been working again with robotics and then mentoring students, but then I'm also working on the ARMAVI project as mentioned before, trying to work on that patent and see if we can actually make that into a product. And then I'm also actually working on a book about Vex robotics right now. So kind of that communication of scientific communication. I've been working on that, and I'm almost done with it actually. So hopefully by the end of this year, I can publish on the Amazon bookstore, and more teams can also learn and kind of use that to continue their education. Yeah.
That's exciting. Congrats. And please keep us updated. Make sure Sasi knows to let us know when you do publish that. That sounds awesome.
Sounds good.
And Inia?
So I'm still young now, so I'm not sure what I want to go into, but I am sure that I want to go into robotics because I'm very interested in this field. And for now, I just want to finish middle school and high school and get good grades.
That sounds so good. Man, that was all I wanted to. Let me just please get good grades, please. I love it. That's so wonderful. I think that it's important that you have that moment where you say, this is what I like. And for now, I'm going to focus on this. And I know what I need to do to set myself up for success. So all jokes aside, make sure you definitely get those good grades. And I think we'll be talking with you in the future. We'll be seeing some big things from you. So thank you so much for sharing.
And Inia?
I want to pursue something about engineering and robotics, like more on the medical side, like making robots that can help surgeons do their work easier. And also, I'm also really into coding, so I want to learn about computer science. And I've been trying to take as many classes in engineering and computer science.
That is so exciting. So important. The work that you all are doing is so important. Thank you so much for sharing. I think that's it with Dublin Robotics, and we're going to transition over to CCA Robotics team. And Laura, if you want to, in any particular order, just call on your students. And the question again is, where you guys, what are your future plans for your career? What sort of STEM career are you pursuing? And then what steps are you taking to prepare for that career?
Okay, I think I'm going to start with Josiah. Sounds great.
Right now, I'm planning on doing something along the lines of computer science in my future. I'm currently taking a class and studying web development using HTML, CSS, and Java, and that's really like captivated my attention. I really enjoy doing stuff like that. So in the future, I could see myself working at a company or launching a project or something along the lines of working on some big project involving computer science, like an application or software of some kind.
I'm like, man, I'm thinking of a million things I need you for right now.
Great thing is you probably could do it.
I'm telling you, I'm like, can we? I'm going to have to talk to my team because the stress level that I almost felt get weight lifted off of my shoulders. No, that's amazing. Good luck with that. Thank you for sharing.
Kristen, how about you?
So I plan on going into genetic research. So a way that robotics will really help with this is for tests like PCR and the ELISA tests. If we can figure out a way to automize those, the level of genetic research will go so much faster than it is right now. And the studies in genetics will allow us to help prevent like genetic diseases that pass through generations.
That's amazing. I'm just curious, where did that passion stem from?
So I just constantly like to try the hardest things all at once. As anyone who knows me will tell you, I'm constantly busy and never have a free moment. So I have taken biology, chemistry, and all those things at the same time. So in my brain, they all kind of merged. And I've also taken the biomedical courses at CCA, which has allowed us to actually do a smaller scale of these PCR tests and ELISA tests, which have allowed us to manipulate one piece of a genome to, like last year, we looked how certain parts of the genome can affect, I believe it was skin cancer, and to see how either it can be prevented, or some people are carriers, or if some people have two of the genes, it'll cause different variations, which will make them more genetically inclined to get skin cancer. So just all of that combined has just brought up this is what I want to study and this is what I really want to go into.
Yeah, I definitely see and feel your energy and your passions, and good luck with that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Aiden and Parker.
All right, so I don't really know exactly what I want to go into, but one thing I've been looking into recently a lot is racing, like a race team, because the more I look at it, the more I realize it's exactly like robotics. You work as a complete team as a whole, and there's different parts that work together, and you build and design a race car, and then the driver goes and races it. And so the whole team fails together. And I just really want to have a career where there's competition, and like I love competition. That's why I love robotics. And I'm thinking about going to racing. But something that I've actually already started to like work on towards like robotics and learning stuff is I've had the opportunity to work for my dad, who's in the construction business. He takes the scratches out of glass on high rises, and he's just started working with an engineering company designing an automated machine that it takes what we do and automates all the polishing itself. So I've got to work with those engineers building that machine.
How cool is that? I know you were excited to be a part of that. Wow. Well, I have to say this, Aiden, you already have like this cool, you've got your Vex. What does that say? Is this like your jacket says Vex Worlds
Vex Worlds
2019?
2019. Yeah.
Is that because you guys were champions?
No, we just made it to Worlds.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, that means you're still a champion. How about that? Yeah, you already look like you're ready, man. You look like you're ready to be on the racetrack. You know, you've got your hat, you got your cool jacket. I mean, I'm rooting for you. And you know what that means? You have to be absolutely perfect. And I think you're already on the right track. So thanks so much for sharing. What about you, Parker? What's going on?
Oh, yeah, so I don't exactly know what I'm particularly want to go into, but I am very interested in aviation. So whether that is like aerospace engineer or just being a pilot in general or anything to do with aviation. And yeah, I'm just trying to take any engineering courses and math courses and all that stuff because it all goes into working on the plane or even flying the plane. You need all of that. And yeah.
That's great. And then what else would you say you're like preparing yourself for, like for this class? Are you doing like what I do, I've substituted YouTube for my cable TV. Anything I want to really focus in on, I really go to YouTube. So are you a YouTuber now like me?
Yeah, definitely. I'm always on YouTube looking up stuff like that. Yeah, but I'm also working with my engineering teacher because we're trying to get a commercial pilot to come in, and we're going to try to start an aviation club for all the kids that want to do with aviation. And we're just going to, yeah.
That's so awesome.
You
Thank
also
you guys. So, yeah, say it again, Aiden.
Oh, I do also have a simulator that I can fly planes in to actually learn how to fly planes and do that. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's definitely preparing you for you know, if anything, it's piquing that interest even further. So that is exciting. Thank you guys for sharing. Anybody else? I know we're missing somebody.
I think we got ours.
We've got everybody. Okay. Wow. Well, guys, good luck on all of your future plans, your endeavors. Just know that even if your plans change, I mean, my goodness, you guys are just so prepared that you can truly just cross over to any field, as we discussed earlier. Some of the things that we talked about in this segment were about the careers, the career opportunities. I mean, it's endless, right? Um, the tools and the skills that you guys are learning are going to just be useful across pretty much every industry. IT, artificial intelligence, home security, programming, GPS systems is one specific example. Automation and aerospace, the medical field. I mean, the list goes on. Some of the fields that we were discussing. And then we started talking about how Dublin Robotics as well as CCA Robotics connects you all and some of your classmates, some of your team members to employers. And I think the key that we learned is that you all are focusing on preparing your students, really making sure that you all master the skills so that when you guys have that opportunity to go in front of these employers, I mean, you're going to nail it. I mean, it's going to just be a regular conversation like how we've had today. You won't even have a sweat on your brow. And then we talked about in that same breath, that you guys are also, some of you are taking these college level courses. That definitely prepares you for that moment when you are in front of employers. You guys, your teams have relationships with the medical research and medical group is what the CCA robotics team specifically stated, and other companies as well that the Dublin Robotics team has also mentioned. And then last but not least in this section, coaching, as well as focusing on these hands-on, really building out these designs and focusing on engineering these projects that you guys are focused on. And last but not least, we talked about, well, how are we preparing ourselves? What's the advice that we can give K through 12 students in order to prepare themselves for the STEM careers you guys may be interested, or some of our listeners? And you guys provided some great tips, some of which are bringing the business and STEM together. That was awesome. That was Alex. Alex, you gave us that perspective. I think that that is such an important collaboration to bring to the STEM field. And then also keeping up with the latest trends, immersing ourselves into new hobbies and learning new skills that we wouldn't normally learn while we're inside necessarily the actual clubs that we're in. And then working and immersing ourselves in different projects. And I think the biggest one is what Inya said, which is, guys, just keep making good grades, graduate, okay? Please focus on those two foundations. And I think you guys are going to be all right. Sasi and Laura and all of the coaches and students, the Y team, the H team, and then the 3 students with the Dublin Robotics. Thank you guys so much. I cannot thank you enough. I'm looking forward to actually working with some of you students in the future. Another thing that we have with a Step in STEM, our program, is our student success stories. So I'll be working with Saucy as well as Laura to get some of you guys' stories and do some features. And we'll figure out how we can continue this collaboration in the future. But for now, good luck, graduate, make good grades, right? Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Candace.